Pardon?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do we have any?
Public participation.
Sorry, I didn't hear you say it.
Okay. Who do we have, Paul?
Got 5 minutes, Eric.
My name is Ari Rosenberg. I live at 6 Taylor Street, and although I am an elected member of Town Council, it seems public comment is the only time that I can speak without being interrupted and heckled by Katie Francis, Sal Rankowitz, or Tom Esposito. Mr. Mayor, you claim you won't stand for uncivil behavior, but you have a double standard with your friends on Town Council. And when good people muster the courage to stand up here and speak their truth, you intimidate them and threaten to kick them out. You may not like it when people come up here to express their concerns about your support for placing a battery storage facility in the DPW over our precious and vulnerable aquifer, but it's their right to speak without being bullied, just as it is our responsibility to listen with compassion, respect, and an open mind. So you can clutch your pearls and virtue signal and tone shame all you like, but the people of this town are smart, and they will not be gaslit, and they know what hypocrisy looks like when they see it. So when you try to intimidate people from expressing their legitimate concerns, I would just remind you of what you said on April 27th. You can put your head in the sand and you can cry, and you can come up here and you can bitch, or you can man up, put your big boy pants on, and you can get the job done. Thank you.
Lisa Breeze.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Breeze. I'm a New Milford resident, and I've lived here since 2008. Oh, sure. It's 6 Barrons Lane, New Milford, Connecticut, 06. Oh, you know the zip code. So anyway, I'm a New Milford resident. I've lived here since 2008. On July 13th, the mayor announced that residents who applaud or roll their eyes would be asked to leave. I looked at the agenda for that meeting, both the original and the revised version. There is no item on about decorum, audience conduct, or public comment rules. There was no motion and there was no vote. The mayor said that night that this council may enact ordinances provided they are consistent with the charter, the state statutes, and the state and federal constitutions. He also said the charter calls for these meetings to be open to the public and to allow public speaking. I agree with him on both points. That is exactly why I'm asking this question. Was the July 13th announcement an action of this council? If it was, under what agenda item was it noticed to the public, and when was it voted on? And if it was not an action of this council, will the council confirm tonight that no resident can be removed from a meeting under it? The mayor also cited a definition of civility from the Institute of Local Governments. I have no quarrel with civility. But a definition from an organization is not a law. It cannot be the basis for removing a resident from a public meeting. I would ask that the answer be reflected in the minutes tonight. Thank you very much.
Oh.
Hi, is this on? Woo. I'm Irene Scribilo, 205 Pumpkin Hill Road. I have one question, and it comes from something that the mayor said himself on July 13th. That night, he told this council that ordinances must be consistent with the town charter, Connecticut general statutes, and the state and federal constitutions, and that they are consistent, and whether they're consistent is determined by the town attorney, who unfortunately is not here today from what I can see, unless he's right there. Those were his words, and they are in the draft minutes that you should have in front of you. Attorney DeBella was in the room that night, although he isn't here today. So my question is simple. Did the town attorney review these restrictions on the applause, eye rolling, grimacing, and what subjects residents may raise before they were announced from the dais? If he did, I would ask that his opinion be put in writing and made available to the public. If he did not, I'll ask the council to obtain a written opinion before anyone is removed from a meeting under a rule that has never been reviewed. This isn't a difficult request. The mayor identified the town attorney as the person who decides these questions. I'm asking that he actually be asked and that we get a response. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Elizabeth Schaub. I live at 26 Carmen Hill Road in New Milford. And I'm afraid this is going to get a little old. I've lived in New Milford my entire life. And as I've mentioned before, when I've been here before, I have attended school from Hill and Plain through Pettibone, Scattercook, and graduated proudly from New Milford High School. I came tonight because of what was said at the last meeting. I want to say that, honestly, I don't know anymore what I'm allowed to do here in this room. I understand not shouting, that makes sense to me, right? I understand not interrupting, again, that makes sense to me. I understand about civility. I think that should be true for everyone, right? But what was said about rolling my eyes or making a face, and that could get me asked to leave, when that can be an involuntary response. I can't guarantee that I'll never roll my eyes. I don't think most people can. And I'd like to know whether that is genuinely grounds for removing me from a public meeting in the town that I have lived in for the past 60 years. I looked at the agenda for that night. There was nothing on it about any of that. So again, I don't know if what I heard was a rule the council voted on, if it was one person's statement, and I shouldn't have to guess, right? I'm not asking for an apology. I'm just asking for something clearly written down. If there are rules, please put them in writing, adopt them by vote, and post them so residents can read them before they walk in. If there are not rules, please say so residents know they won't be afraid, they won't be worried that they're going to be removed from the room at anyone's discretion. Rules are not meant to be made up on the spot. They are to be discussed, voted on, and publicly posted. That's all I want, to know the rules before I walk in. The other thing I would just, with all due respect, remind the council and the mayor of, and again, I say this with all due respect, you are all elected officials, which means the constituents of this town elected you. So, you work for us. Okay? Thank you.
Hi, Jackie Eaton, 6 Redwood Lane, New Milford. I've been a resident homeowner and taxpayer for 24 years, and I've attended council meetings in person or watched the live stream. I'm here tonight to address the mayor's July 13th off-agenda remarks about public comments and ask the council to consider a bipartisan committee to rework the town council rules and, if possible, Part 4 of the charter. They are conflicting. The council's rules state members of the public can make comments and the charter states electors may address the town council. Does the mayor mean that business owners, all the visitors who frequent downtown, do sports here, all the parents of students bused to the high school, et cetera, cannot speak publicly for matters related to this town? One thing the mayor said that I can agree with is that civility is most important during comments and all of these types of interactions. However, if a board or commission member is spreading rumors and hateful rhetoric or telling falsehoods, I'm going to speak up and ask the council to do something. That is my First Amendment right. I also understand that it is the right of the mayor and council to set rules of order to prohibit applause and interruptions. We all agree with that. I think I don't have a problem with that. However, those same rules must be consistently applied to everyone who addresses the council. That is a First Amendment principle as well. Were the people who applauded the mayor's remarks on the 13th asked to leave? I take serious issue with the mayor stating he'll remove someone for eye-rolling or grimacing, and believe all of our residents should be concerned about this authoritarian directive and about First Amendment infringement and expensive lawsuits against the town if this were to be enforced. The mayor also stated that public comments are to be limited to the council's roles and responsibilities and that national and state issues don't belong here. All politics are local. And every issue I've ever spoken to in this room, no matter where that issue originated, has direct implications for every person in New Milford. And national cuts affect us here, national hate spreads here, national rollbacks of environmental laws affect us here, and we as a town must be proactive and this council must be prepared. Every council meeting during the mayor's comments portion, every council meeting, the mayor gives mayor's comments and shares public interest stories that, according to his own rules, wouldn't fall under the purview of the council and don't belong in council meetings. I would argue that this part of the council meeting would have to be removed from the agenda as well to remain consistent if that other rule was going to stand. And actually, what doesn't this town council have purview over? It has legislative authority, policy and decision-making power. It manages ordinances, processes, has budget and fiscal oversight, forms commissions, boards, and committees. All board, commissions, and committee members must operate within the town code of ethics, which states that having the trust of the public is essential for government to function effectively, and that public policy developed by government officials and employees affects every citizen of the town and must therefore be based on honest and fair deliberations and decisions. So I don't agree with the way this town is run often, but until January of 2025, I only felt compelled to speak up when education, clean water, or the library were on the line. Thank you. But since January of 2025, there have been daily assaults on our institutions, freedoms, and taxpayer dollars that affect the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness right here at home. And we expect our leaders to listen to our concerns and be prepared to defend its constituents here at home. Thank you.
I'm the Reverend Dr. Pat Nicholas. I live at 6 Lamplighter Lane. I have lived in New Milford for 56 years. I haven't attended a lot of town council meetings in person, although I have watched many online. And I've only spoken on a few occasions on topics that I felt were of importance to the people of this town. This is one of those occasions. Like others, I was taken aback by the warning given at the start of the last town council meeting. Now, I had prepared a lengthy statement, but given the fact that many other people had the same reaction and have come here tonight to speak, I cut my statement way back. As a retired minister, speaking to groups of people was a major part of my professional life. However, I have to say that I'm still nervous when I get up to speak here. That's not because of some random eye rolling or grimacing behind my back or somebody else's, or applause for issues that I don't agree with. It's more often from watching the complete disregard or open look of contempt on the faces of some of the council members, especially when someone expresses something they don't agree with. The warning at the last council meeting was given under the guise of addressing civility. However, to me and many others, it was more than a veiled threat and an attempt to limit the First Amendment right of free speech of concerned citizens. Although the reason stated was to alleviate fear and assure people that they would be heard without judgment, the warning only heightened the uncertainty and fear of reprisal if there was any indication of disagreement. I firmly believe that approach is completely counter to the ideals of the Founding Fathers, our Constitution, and the way citizens of New Milford should be treated by their government officials. Thank you.
Good evening.